Will Bugatti sue you for your Chiron rebuild?
It's become like a Lionel Messi, Ronaldo situation.
No, they don't want you exposing them and taking them on head to head.
Only reason I'm able to buy these cars.
Imagine owning a machine so exclusive, so precise, that the manufacturer effectively decides if it's allowed to exist. Matt Armstrong didn't just buy a crashed car. He bought a war with a titan. When he laid hands on the $4 million Chiron Pur Sport, he expected a challenge, but he didn't expect to be blacklisted. Bugatti didn't just walk away. They tried to lock the doors from the inside. This is how one YouTuber exposed the hypercar industry's darkest secret. Can a car really be illegal to fix? The forbidden Pur Sport and the million tax. When Matt Armstrong touched down in Miami to inspect a wrecked Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport, he wasn't just looking at a salvage project, he was looking at a mechanical corpse that the world's most prestigious brand wanted buried. This wasn't just any Chiron. This was the Pur Sport, a limited-run beast, one of only 60 ever made, designed to be the apex of lateral acceleration and raw, unadulterated speed. But after its owner, Alex Gonzalez, plowed the hypercar into the back of a tiny Japanese mini-truck, the car was stripped of its dignity. The impact left the Pur Sport with significant front-end damage and minor cracks in its carbon fiber chassis tub, leading the factory to essentially mark its VIN for death. The numbers involved here are enough to make a billionaire blink. We're talking about a car that costs upwards of $3.6 million new. After the insurance company declared it totaled, the wreck was acquired back by Gonzalez for roughly $1.9 million, a bargain in the hypercar world. But Bugatti's entry fee to bring it back to life was a staggering $1.7 million repair quote. Think about that. For the price of a small fleet of Ferraris, Bugatti would agree to fix their own product. When the owner balked at that price tag, the relationship didn't just sour. It turned into an all-out blockade where the French manufacturer refused to sell repair parts to anyone wanting to fix the car independently. So what did he expose in the open? Matt's investigation into the car revealed a culture of disposable high-end engineering that most people never see. To the average viewer, a Bugatti is a masterpiece of craftsmanship. To the factory, once a certain threshold of damage is met, it becomes a liability they'd rather see crushed than repaired by unauthorized hands. Matt's exposure wasn't just about the damage to the car, it was about exposing the exorbitant gatekeeping of parts. He discovered that a pair of headlights for the Pur Sport costs a staggering $174,000, while front fenders are $200,000 each. Even the famous horseshoe grille surround comes with a $93,000 price tag. This created a parts freeze designed to starve the project of oxygen. By refusing to sell the specialized bolts, specific carbon panels, or proprietary electronics, Bugatti ensured the car remained a multi-million-dollar paperweight. Matt highlighted the absurdity of the situation. A single section of the carbon hood alone costs $58,000. By choosing to document every hurdle, Matt pulled back the curtain on a system where the manufacturer maintains total control over the secondary market, ensuring that the prestige of the brand is never tarnished by a car that has a rebuilt title, even if that car is mechanically perfect. The tax wasn't just financial, it was a total denial of ownership rights. Bugatti insists on performing all repairs in-house at their facility in France, essentially telling owners that their $4 million purchase doesn't actually grant them the right to choose how or where it is maintained. Matt's journey exposed the reality that at this level of the automotive world, you aren't just buying a car, you are entering into a lifelong, high-price contract of permission. But why would a CEO personally step into a YouTube comment section? Safety or suppression? The saga took a surreal turn when Mate Rimac, the visionary CEO of Bugatti Rimac, didn't just watch the videos, he responded publicly through social media and direct comments. This was a move almost unheard of in the ultra-luxury space. Usually, brands like Bugatti operate in a sphere of silence and legal letters, but Rimac is a new breed of executive, a tech-forward founder who rose from the world of DIY electric cars to the head of the world's most famous hypercar brand. His intervention was framed as a concern for safety, but to the car community, it felt like a tactical maneuver to control the narrative. Rimac's argument was grounded in engineering reality. He pointed out that the Chiron is a machine of extreme tolerances. When you have a car capable of 261 miles per hour, good enough isn't an option. He highlighted that the monocoque, the carbon fiber heart of the car, had taken structural damage during the Miami crash. In his view, allowing a YouTuber to patch up a car with that level of complexity was a recipe for disaster. If that car were to fail at high speed, it wouldn't just be Matt's problem. It would be a PR catastrophe for Bugatti. The blacklist wasn't just a punishment. According to the brand, it was a safety protocol intended to ensure that only factory-trained technicians in Molsheim or authorized hubs could certify the vehicle's integrity. However, the exposure here was the revelation of a massive price gap. After the public back and forth and the viral pressure from Matt's audience, Bugatti reportedly dropped their original repair estimate of $1.7 million down to a discounted $600,000. That's a $1 million swing in factory pricing. This move backfired in the eyes of many enthusiasts. If the repair could be done for $600,000, why was the original quote nearly triple that? It suggested that the high entry price for repairs wasn't just about labor and parts. It was a deterrent. It was a go-away price intended to force the owner to scrap the car or trade it in for a loss. The conflict became a philosophical battle over ownership. Does buying a car mean you own the right to fix it? Or are you merely a custodian of the brand's image? Rimac's stance was clear. A Bugatti is a piece of high-performance art that belongs to a specific ecosystem. He even used the example of the new Tourbillon's dashboard leather, explaining that at minus 20 degrees Celsius, the material is specifically engineered to ensure airbags can still deploy, a detail he claimed no independent shop could replicate. Matt's stance was equally clear. A car is a machine, and machines can be fixed. This clash exposed a deep rift in the industry. While Rimac warned of shattered gearboxes and compromised carbon, Matt was showing the world that with enough skill and specialized help, even the impossible could be attempted in a home workshop. Rimac explicitly stated that removing a Chiron engine could only be done in 2 places in the entire world by specific technicians. Matt took that as a challenge. By documenting the impossible engine removal in a standard garage, he exposed the fact that the magic of hypercar maintenance is often just a high-priced wall of exclusivity. The drama escalated further when it was discovered that some Bugatti components share part numbers with much more affordable Volkswagen Group vehicles. Matt pointed out that certain airbags appeared to share the same part numbers as those in an Audi A3. Rimac fired back, arguing that even if the part numbers are similar, the certification and testing required for a 300-mile-per-hour hypercar make them non-interchangeable. This technical debate between a CEO and a YouTuber fascinated millions. It wasn't just about a car anymore. It was about the transparency of the world's most secretive manufacturers. By engaging with Matt publicly, Rimac inadvertently validated the reach of independent creators. He wasn't just talking to a guy in a shed. He was talking to a global audience that increasingly values the right to repair over the prestige of a factory stamp. What happens when the parts you need simply don't exist for sale? The carbon fiber underground. With Bugatti refusing to supply genuine parts and locking the VIN globally, Matt Armstrong was forced to go off-grid, exposing a hidden economy of high-end automotive restoration that the factory would rather not acknowledge. This phase of the project turned into a masterclass in independent engineering, effectively bypassing a manufacturer-imposed blockade through sheer ingenuity. When Bugatti CEO Mate Rimac publicly stated that removing a Chiron's engine could only be performed in 2 specific locations worldwide by factory-trained technicians, Matt saw it as a direct challenge. He didn't just ignore the warning. He successfully split the car in half in his own garage without any specialized factory training, proving that the high-walled garden of hypercar maintenance is often built on policy rather than physical impossibility. The revelation in this area focused on the democratization of specialized skills. To repair the shattered gearbox and compromised structural components, Matt turned to independent experts like Bob at the machine shop, who performed TIG welding and fabrication on parts Bugatti claimed were unfixable. He further bypassed the factory's million techs by collaborating with Valvetronic, who fabricated a one-of-one custom aftermarket exhaust system when Bugatti refused to sell the OEM pipes. This move didn't just save hundreds of thousands of dollars, it shattered the myth that these machines are so exotic they can only exist within the manufacturer's ecosystem. Perhaps the most jarring revelation for the brand's prestige was the parts bin exposure. Enthusiasts and viewers digging into the build discovered that even a $4 million Chiron shares significant DNA with much more humble vehicles. For instance, the starter motor used to crank the massive 1,500 horsepower W16 engine is a Denso unit, a component that traces its lineage back to the Volkswagen Jetta TDY's diesel sedan. This reality check that a bespoke hypercar relies on a common diesel starter became a focal point of the narrative. Matt also highlighted that while Bugatti charges five-figure sums for small components, certain sensors and airbags appeared to share part numbers or basic architectures with the Audi A3. By successfully sourcing these shared parts and utilizing independent fabrication, Matt turned the forbidden Pur Sport into a rolling symbol of technical defiance. He proved that even if a manufacturer tries to kill a car by withholding parts, the global network of specialist builders can keep it alive. This didn't just save a car, it exposed the fact that the magic of Molsheim is often a carefully maintained illusion of exclusivity that can be hacked by anyone with a wrench and a YouTube channel. Is the era of manufacturer-controlled monopolies finally coming to an end? A hypercar revolution. The Matt Armstrong versus Bugatti saga isn't just a high-stakes garage build, it's the opening salvo in a global war over who truly owns a vehicle once the ink on the contract is dry. As Matt continued to document the process, he inadvertently became the poster child for the right to repair movement in the ultra-luxury segment. The unfolding of Bugatti's tactics, specifically the locking of the VIN and the refusal to provide service manuals, has amplified a conversation that has reached the halls of government. By 2026, the landscape of automotive ownership is shifting under the weight of new legislation like the EU's Right to Repair Directive, which mandates that manufacturers provide spare parts and technical documentation for up to 10 years. This Armstrong effect is already reshaping how the community interacts with elite machines. In the past, a manufacturer's blacklist was a death sentence for a car's value and existence. But today, the narrative has flipped. When other creators, such as Mark McCann, acquired a repossessed and broken Mansory Veyron, they didn't see an impossible obstacle, they saw a roadmap provided by Matt's defiance. By showing that a Chiron or Veyron can be serviced outside the authorized network, these videos are dismantling the manufacturer-controlled monopoly that has long dictated hypercar pricing. Even the U.S. Repair Act, introduced to Congress, mirrors this sentiment by aiming to give owners and independent shops equal access to the diagnostic data and tools that brands like Bugatti previously kept under lock and key. The revelation that Bugatti reportedly dropped their initial repair quote by over $1 million, that even the most powerful brands are starting to realize they cannot control the narrative in the age of digital transparency. As Matt officially fired up the W16 engine in March 2026, he wasn't just starting a car. He was proving that the impossible is often just a corporate policy designed to protect a bottom line. The license to repair means that a $4 million investment shouldn't come with a leash. Matt's journey has proven that a transparent, documented rebuild can create its own unique, uncrashable value. The Chiron is no longer just a salvage title car. It is a public record of resilience that has garnered tens of millions of views. By the time this project hits the asphalt, it won't just be a fixed Bugatti. It will be a monument to the fact that no matter how many digital or legal barriers a corporation puts up, the spirit of independent craftsmanship will always find a way. The ban from Bugatti didn't destroy the car's legacy. It made it a legend for a new generation of owners who refused to be told no. Beyond the Chiron, while the Bugatti saga has undoubtedly become a watershed moment in automotive history, it is merely one chapter in a career built on turning unfixable scrap into high-octane legends. Long before he was trading barbs with hypercar CEOs, Matt Armstrong was already the undisputed king of the salvage yard. His fame isn't tied to a single French brand. It's anchored in a decade of grit, a refusal to accept a total loss certificate, and a portfolio of builds that would make even the most seasoned factory mechanics sweat. Matt's journey is a testament to the idea that a brand can control its parts, but it cannot control a person's talent or the loyalty of a global audience. To truly understand the weight of Matt's impact, you have to look at the machines that paved the road to Molsheim. One of his most iconic and grueling triumphs remains the flooded 2024 Porsche 911 GT3 RS. He purchased this car for a staggering $130,000 as a waterlogged shell that most experts dismissed as a parts donor at best. Rebuilding a precision-tuned track weapon that has been submerged in a river is widely considered a fool's errand due to the complex electrical gremlins that inevitably follow. Matt didn't just dry it out, he meticulously rebuilt the engine from the ground up. During the process, he overcame a catastrophic, stupid mistake where the cylinder block bearing sizes didn't match the original, forcing a complete teardown and a grueling restart. This project wasn't just about a car. It was a masterclass in the psychological resilience required to be a top-tier builder, and showed his audience that he is human enough to make mistakes but skilled enough to fix them. Then there was the rescue of the abandoned Lamborghini Murcielago, a gated manual legend he saved from a track experience company for £100,000. The car had been sitting for 7 years after a failed engine rebuild by a previous mechanic left it in pieces. Alongside his father, Matt spent over a year mechanically reviving the V12 beast, eventually taking it on an epic road trip through Europe to prove its reliability and structural integrity. This build cemented his reputation for mechanical archaeology, digging into the history of a forgotten, broken supercar and restoring its soul. His portfolio is a relentless march through the elite automotive tiers, including the high-profile restoration of Marcus Rashford's Mansory Rolls-Royce. After the football star crashed the bespoke luxury yacht on wheels, Matt acquired it and rebuilt the complex carbon fiber bodywork, eventually driving it back to the Mansory factory in Germany to show the original creators that their unfixable masterpiece was back on the road. The reality is that Matt Armstrong's fame has never been a Bugatti dependency. He was a millionaire in views and influence long before the Pur Sport entered the frame. His early Audi TT rebuild was the spark that originally changed his life, proving that his audience isn't just there for the badge on the hood. They are there for the transformation and the sheer audacity of the attempt. Matt represents a fundamental shift in how we consume automotive media. In the old world, prestige came from being invited to a press launch. In Matt's world, prestige comes from buying the car the press launch crashed and making it better than it was when it left the factory. He has built a community that values transparency over polish and grease over marketing brochures. When Bugatti refused him parts, they didn't realize they were fighting a man who had already mastered the art of sourcing components from the carbon fiber underground and identifying shared parts from the broader Volkswagen group. Matt's influence has created what many now call the Armstrong effect. He has turned the right to repair from a dry, legalistic term into a riveting narrative of David versus Goliath. Even if the Chiron project had never happened, Matt would remain the gold standard for independent car content because he humanizes the unreachable. He makes a $300,000 Ferrari or a $4 million Bugatti feel like a puzzle that can be solved by anyone with enough determination, a TIG welder, and a bit of common sense. He has proven that the magic surrounding these brands is often just a high-priced wall of exclusivity that can be dismantled with the right tools and a YouTube camera. Matt will remain admired because he represents the underdog in an era of corporate gatekeeping, and that is a narrative that resonates far beyond the automotive world. Want more videos like this? Simply subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you won't miss out on our uploads.